What's up, bomb ass moms? Welcome back to the Bomb Ass Moms podcast. I'm your girl, Erica.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Tierney, and we're the Bomb Ass Moms.
Y'all, we are at episode 2. I'm super excited, but this is part 1 continued. And with this episode, we are going to be talking about how kids can change your relationship because that's big. Kids can change your relationship and you don't even think twice about it. But before we start talking about this, we want to make sure we have our listeners continue to subscribe and follow us on IG, Facebook at Bum Ass Moms Podcast. Whatever platform, make sure you continue to listen to Bum Ass Moms Podcast. Ladies in the house tonight. Are you ready?
Ready?
Hey. All right,
Right.
yeah, we needed a little icebreaker. Let's get this thing started. How does children change your relationship? How can they change your relationship? In my relationship, Chris and I were only officially together for a few months. Like, I've been knowing him since like 2015, but we were officially together from like February, March to whatever time. So, and this is 2020. Yeah, 2020. So, with our relationship, the first thing that I noticed that changed after our baby, how we were involved with each other. All of our attention was on our child, and I guess we kind of neglected each other.
What,
Um,
Tierney, when you say neglected each other, what do you mean? Neglected in what way? I mean, sexual, physical, I mean, what, like going out or just being in each other's presence? What you mean?
in my opinion, and always, because we went from like dating each other, oh, come over and spend the night over my house. We would probably spend the night with each other maybe 3 nights out of 7, maybe 4. The weekends, it was guaranteed that we were going to spend time with each other on the weekend. Maybe unless we had something planned like out of town or with our friends, we were going to be with each other. If either one of us went out and we didn't go out together, after that, we were going to be with each other. So we were together about four days out of the week. Even with us, with our hectic schedule, we had to get up early in the morning. Like, I had to be at work at like 5:30. He had to be at work at 7. So we just kind of made it work during the week. We went from that because we had our separate places. I moved in with him, but it still didn't really change. Like, we didn't spend more time with each other. I think that it was just tunnel vision. I was focused on the baby. He was focused on the baby. I don't feel like we made each other feel special in that time. We probably should have, but it was just like we're both new parents. So we just focused on what we thought we should do. And that's what I mean by we neglected each other. And the important thing about that, probably a few months in, maybe when the baby was about 5 months, we started to notice like, hey, we're growing apart. We need to do some things together. We need to fix some things because we were just slowly, like, our relationship was changing. So that's number one. Number two, okay, I was healing. It took me a long time to heal. It took me like almost 8, 9, 10 months to heal. So the sex, we were not having sex at all. And it's understandable. We didn't go out because we were away from home. I'm from Tennessee. He's from Georgia. So we didn't have any family in California where we lived. So there was no one to watch our child at all. So what we did, if we did go out on a date, which right now I can't remember if we went out on any dates while we were in San Diego. Actually, I don't think we went out on any dates. We were in San Diego. We didn't have any babysitters. We were actually in the midst of moving because we were moving to Hawaii. So it was just a lot going on in our lives when we had Tristan.
You were in the midst of moving to Hawaii pregnant, or you had already had a baby?
No, so we had our baby. Tristan was born in June. We were moving to Hawaii in September. In At the end of July, I went home to Tennessee to visit my family because I wanted my baby to meet my family before we left for Hawaii. So I spent time, probably like a month, in Memphis to just, get my family acquainted with my child and just be around them before we were away. This is like one big like life change for me because one, I'd quit my job, which this is really hard. This is how the baby really changed our relationship. And it was just so hard for me because I quit my job. I was moving from San Diego, a place that I loved. When I was just single, I just had a wonderful time by myself. But now, we have a new baby. I'm spending time with my family. So, one, I'm away from my man already. It's been a month. I'm away from my man. And then we decide, hey, let's visit his mom, which is in Georgia. We visit her for like 2 weeks. And then we, as a family, we flew to Hawaii. We get to Hawaii, we didn't have any family resources. So it was just like us by ourselves on a fucking island. And one thing we did, we tried to find like, tourist things to do that kind of helped us get out the house, see the island, learn some new things about the island. And at the time, that did kind of help us a little bit, but it really didn't get us over that hump.
You've discussed that, a lot of changes happen after you've had Tristan. So I was just wondering, like, how did you get over that hump, or how did you start to see a positive change in you and Chris's relationship?
I think initially it was mostly because, like, since I've said this before, we have different personalities, and I'm a little bit more outspoken than Chrissy is. And I think most men are like that. Most men, if they see a problem, they won't even check it. It's mostly the woman that kind of checks the problem. So I had to be the one to like initiate this conversation, like, hey, what's going on with us? I noticed this, I noticed that. Like, let's get this together. And it was just a conversation, and sometimes that's all we need is to communicate. And sometimes that communication goes far and sometimes it doesn't. With us, for the communication, and now that I've seen that we've kind of started dating, my child is 16 months, and we just started dating when he was probably 14 months because we found a good babysitter that we trust. And we still probably only go out maybe twice a month. That's just how we are. It's kind of scary. It's scary for us because I guess this is our first child. I'm sure that I'll be like that with my second child as well. But, we just communicated, and I figured, since I've always been this independent woman, hey, I don't need you. That's the persona. That's not always how I feel, but that's the persona. That's what I give off, but that's not actually how I feel. So, Chris is somebody that's very important to me. Of course, he is. He's the father of my child, he's my boyfriend, someone I decided to be with and to have a life with. That's something I want to put time forth. I want to put time into our relationship. So we just had to come to an understanding, like, this is important. And for us to be great parents in a relationship, not great parents apart or co parenting, great parents in a relationship, we have to give that time to each other. So we've heard about like some of the things that changed for me. What type of things changed for you all after you all had the babies in your relationship?
So for me, after having a baby, our relationship changed quite a bit. As far as us dating each other, us learning how to be parents, me, just my overall hormonal state, sex life. Again, we had to communicate certain things on our end because having a baby was new for the both of us. So we both were learning.
Actually, you guys, for me, mine did the opposite. So my relationship, it actually got better. It was better communication on both ends.
Ladies, let's just go ahead and take a quick break and we'll be right back. I know you had let our listeners know out there that you had dated Marcus for over 12 years and now you have a new baby and you're saying that it's better. How did you all date? Like, do you all still date? I mean, what do you mean by better?
So our communication definitely got better. Before, me and Marcus, we would butt heads. It would be about the smallest things. Now it's more so on, is this worth an argument type thing.
You had said the communication is better and because y'all used to argue about the smallest things. That's growth in a relationship,
Yes.
honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not going to say that we were never at a point where we were ready to move to the next stage in our relationship, but sometimes it takes growth within each other.
Children can change, our relationship, but that doesn't necessarily mean that all change is bad, right?
Mhm.
So, like with you and Marcus, you said y'all change for the better, which is good, and every day we learn in our partner, every day we're going to grow and learn something new, no matter if we've been with them for 2 days, 12 years, 6 months. We learn something new every single day, especially now that we have children with these men.
So, Ashley, can you just explain? Because I know you were married to your husband when you had your child. So, can you just give us a little rundown to dating him, getting married, then boom, y'all got a child? What changed with you all?
Tierney, I'm glad you asked that because, when Andrew and I were dating, it was just that. And one of my good friends said this: people show up as representatives, and then when you get with them, some true colors start coming out. So when we were dating, it was like, yeah, okay. Then we got married. We only dated for, I don't know, not even long. I mean, we actually chatted via Skype for almost a year before we said, hey, let's meet each other and go from there. But we dated, we decided, hey, let's get married. We actually went to the courthouse and got married. And then we moved.
I do have a question. When you say y'all dated and he showed up as a representative, what does that mean?
So when we were dating, Andrew, made sacrifices and everything like that to show me I'm worth you being with, right? Then we get together, things changed. And I'm like, oh, was this the person that I dated? I'm not necessarily saying that it always changed for the bad, but things did change.
Ask a question. I don't think that we asked this question, but how did you and Andrew meet?
Thank you for asking, Erica. No, I'm just kidding. No, for real. Andrew and I actually met on Match.com. So I actually did online dating. Now online dating is the new thing. Back then, Andrew and I actually had a story to tell. If we wanted to tell you that we met online, we told you we met online. If not, we told you we met at a game, which we knew the truth. So yeah, back then, I mean, we online dated.
Hey, no lie. I met Chris on POF. No judgment here. That's just like our new age thing. That's the new generation thing until people start getting killed and stuff. But back to you, Ash.
Tier, now I have a question. What's POF? Look, am I the only person that's not?
Oh, yeah, Erica been in
You
the
can
day
plenty
game for
of
Exciting.
so
fish.
long.
Look,
Hold
this
up,
is
Erica
exciting.
been market.
POF is plenty of fish, Erica. So just since you didn't know that, yeah,
Oh,
you been
okay.
dating
And
Marcus so long, you didn't have a chance to get out there in the pool. So
I
it's okay.
know. It's saying like I ain't, I went from one relationship. I mean, I had a break, but it's like I was scooped up again.
Well, it sounds like you a catch baby.
Hello.
right. She was that fish in the sea that got caught.
Thank you.
Okay, Ashley. So I know you were saying that Andrew showed up as his representative. You guys were dating and then you got married. So when was the change? When did that start, rather?
I think that sometimes in relationships people can become complacent and just forget the reason why we were at the point or why we got to the point that we got to, meaning marriage, right? So I think that it slowly started to change in that first year. We were in our honeymoon phase and we were learning each other, but I noticed a slight change, but didn't think twice about it. And then guess what? I got pregnant and had a baby. And things really changed after that. There are some things we'll discuss in later episodes about, how we as women felt after having children, but our relationship definitely changed. Our sexual activity was probably non-existent. Dating was very hard to do because we have a new baby and we lived in Hawaii. We don't have a support system, so we had to figure that out too. Three, our communication was not the greatest. It was just a whole bunch of things that were changing. I think that eventually, we came around to communicate and try to figure out ways when we built our village to start dating, but we were trying to learn how to be new parents. And parents that don't have no like pamphlet to say, hey, yeah, you're doing this right, you're doing this wrong. And then I worked as a soldier and Andrew stayed at home. But then Andrew eventually got a job and it was like we were almost like roommates. And I was like, I can't have this. So we ended up communicating about it and, trying to put in effort to at least go back to dating each other.
Ashley, I can definitely understand the roommates because I have felt like that. And being away from your family, because I'm so tight with my family, being away from your family, and then like you're with this guy, new relationship. Well, y'all were married, but me and my guy, we were boyfriend and girlfriend. And it's like, I'm his roommate, but we do all the stuff we need to do for
Them
our
friends with
child.
benefits.
And well, at the time, we weren't friends with benefits because I had just had the baby.
Oh,
So to clue in, you said sex changed. How did it change? Were you all very sexually active, or how did it change for you, or why did it change for you?
that's a good question. And I'm pretty sure most women out there can relate to either or. Either your libido go all the way up or your libido go all the way down. And for me, honestly, mine went all the way down. Again, I'm trying to focus on how to be a new mom. I was sore for quite a while. And I just wasn't interested. I was not interested. That is the honest truth. I was not interested. My libido went down. And Andrew, a man, men can only use their hand for so long, right? So, I mean,
Well, I don't know, cause mine. If he used his hand, I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did. Excuse me, TMI. I'm sure he did, but it was like a long ass time.
I can't say mine was a long, long time. And I'm the type that I'm like, okay, I can be okay without it, right? But again, either your libido go all the way up or your libido go all the way down. And when people aren't getting something, we have to be mindful that if they're not getting it here, you just never know.
Yeah.
Right? You just never know. But either way, we had a conversation about it and there was some compromising that had to be done because at the end of the day, this is my husband and my husband wants sex and I'm over here like not wanting sex and I'm like we had to come to a happy medium. So like that's just how it was for me. I mean, Erica, you've been in your relationship for a while and your situation could be very different than Tyranny, mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just feel like our challenges came before we had Trey. I would definitely say that, especially being in a long term relationship, as long as I've been in one, you go through ups and downs. You go through falling in love, not being in love. I definitely can understand the roommate stages because me and Marcus, we lived together. Actually, just to go back, recently, after what I would say like the end of my pregnancy, we decided to move back in with each other. And of course, I was on the skeptical side of moving back in because of the issues that we dealt with before. And I will say this, I was before we moved back together, I was on my own, which I had my own place for about 6 years. So yeah, with being on my own and living on my own, and me and him being in two separate spaces, I definitely can say I'm glad that that did happen for us to have that time to be separate, because it was a time for us to find who we are, what we wanted, if it was something that we definitely wanted to continue. And I can definitely say, if you sometimes, in a relationship you do have to take breaks, and I'm not saying that our relationship was a break, but we were young when we got together. I was 19, Marcus was 22, going on 22 when we got together. So, and when we moved together, it was like kind of.
Oh, I know you. My bad, Erica. I'm listening, and I would. So for people out there that's listening, you said that you and Marcus, y'all been together for a while, and that's amazing. But when you say y'all had to take breaks, did you take breaks from just like communicating, dating? Like, what was that break? And then how did y'all, you can think about it, but how did y'all like come back together and say, okay, yeah, we gonna do this?
Let me just be clear about our breaks. Our breaks were never a break. Let me just say that. How can I put that or break that down in a? Yeah, it just was never a break. I mean, even the times that we said, "I was just gonna break off from each other." I mean, we might talk, not talk for a
Yeah,
week.
y'all mad at each other.
Yeah, we might be mad at each other for a week.
Yeah, and that happens. Like honestly, relationships now with or without the child, but
Mm-hmm.
more so with the child, you'll be like, "Hey, I'm breaking" or whatever. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's reality.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to ask you, what you meant by a break. Like, did y'all really say, "Hey, I'm going my separate ways," and then y'all came back together? But you just cleared the air right there.
Yeah, no, like I said, our breaks were never a break, but just to say for me, I guess, like a lot of challenges that you guys went through, I can say I went through throughout the time periods that we've been together. So with me having a new baby, when you've been together so long, begin to know your partner, you begin to learn your partner. And that's very important when you know your partner. And even today, like, it's still things that we're still growing, and we're growing for the best. And with you ladies, my advice with you guys would be to just never give up. That's what I'm going to say. Tyranny, especially, I was hearing your story, and I have older friends, and I guess a lot of my advice definitely came from my older friends that's been through things, and they were able to, help me through like tough situations or I was going through. So get back to that place that you guys were before you had the baby. I know it can be difficult sometimes without the support, but find like small things. I don't care if it's, a romantic dinner, going to Dollar Tree, going to find you some rose petals, and lighting your downstairs, up when your baby is asleep. Just, like I said, keeping the romance within the relationship. And sometimes it's hard for your partner maybe to gravitate to certain things.
Well, yeah, Erica, I think one commonality that you and I have is, even though you and Marcus have been together so long and Chris and I have been together for a short time, the commonality that I do see is growth and effort, putting in the effort in your relationship. Whether you've been together a short time, long term, you have to put in that time. Also, you said that it's very important just kind of do different things like the candles, the rose petals, and we have done that. It takes time to build up to those things and to like get out of your own box, because sometimes I was always in my mind like, oh, he's not going to like that. Why doesn't he do this stuff? But I had to learn I need to initiate some things. And it's okay for me to initiate, because maybe he hasn't had someone to do that for him, so he doesn't know what he should do for, I guess, a woman. and he doesn't know what I like.
I agree with that, Tierney. I think it goes back to the whole communication piece, right? Like we stated on here, as far as me go, like I was married for almost 7 years. Why it ended? Another story for another podcast for another day. However, when we were together, even after having a child, we had to communicate. I had my own issues. He had things going on. Just imagine having a man there who wants to work, but due to unforeseen circumstances when it came to places in Hawaii finding childcare, it took a toll on Andrew too. So it's a lot of things that not only changed for me after having, a child, things changed for him as well. And so with that communication piece of trying to do little different things, whether that's something around the house, cook, whatever, it took communication and effort on both parts. Both parts. We make babies together, not by ourselves. So it is a change for your partner as well as you.
That's true. So, Ashley, with your issues with libido, and I'm not pinpointing your issues, but a lot of women they go through this, especially after pregnancy. What were some things that you did to increase your libido, or what were some things that you did to like help your husband understand at the time, like, hey, it's not me, it's just my body. So, like, don't think that I don't like you, or I'm not attracted to you, or I'm not sexually attracted to you.
So one, I communicated to him to say, hey, my hormones are off balance, things are changing in my body. It's just I just don't want to right now. I got a whole infant like breastfeed and sucking the life out of me, right? So it was one, a communication piece. Then after so long, the communication only goes so far. So for me, I actually sought out help to my midwife to say, hey, I'm just not there. My husband wants to engage in these sexual activities, but I'm just not there yet. I need a little help. So I reached out to get help. And again, we had to compromise. So maybe not doing it 5 days a week. Maybe we could do it 2 days out of the five. That compromising came in to where he still get sexual intercourse from his wife, but all at the same time, it's not every single day either.
Well, I'll say this. When I was going through my little postpartum period, it's not that I didn't want to have sex. I couldn't because I was so sore. And our drastic change in being able to connect sexually, it affected me a lot because I felt like Chris and I, we went from, okay, we'll spend the night with each other 4 days a week. We're going to have sex 4 days a week. Like, that's how attracted we are to each other. Well, were to each other. And it wasn't like, oh, I just need sex to get one off. It was like, I like connecting with this person. It's fun, it's intimate. And then after you have the baby, you lose that intimacy. And for me, being intimate with someone is so much more than just having intercourse. Is more of like a mind, body, and soul. Like, I really like, we exchange energies, and that's important to me. So after pregnancy and we couldn't do that, it really affected me. I was kind of sad. Not that I was depressed because I had the baby, but I felt like we couldn't connect how we did in the past.
I know what you mean, Tierney, because pre-baby, we were probably going like rabbits, even with dating. But for me, it wasn't that I wasn't attracted to Andrew right after the baby or anything like. It was me. It almost was like it was a mental block, and two, my hormones were off, and I didn't produce as much secretions so I had to seek out help, like for real.
Well, it is a known fact that when you are breastfeeding, you do not produce as much down there to make it comfortable to have sex. So that's a known fact. I'm not sure if you knew that or not.
Maybe.
Girl, if I knew it, I still got postpartum brain. I don't know. Erica, what you say?
Well, maybe that's why I ain't breastfeed. Maybe that's probably why I didn't, have all those challenges. I don't know.
Oh, nah. Oh,
Look, I'm not down,
Uh-uh.
y'all. I'm not down, y'all. At all
Uh-uh.
for the y'all
Different strokes for
breastfeeding.
different folks.
I just could not get into the breastfeeding, and it just wasn't for me. I guess in my mind, for me, breastfeeding is like, I hate to say this, but like when a man is just on your breast and your baby got to be on your breast, it just didn't mingle right to me. I don't know.
Thing like with your thought process, and not
Hmm.
saying your thought process is
Mhm.
wrong, but I have heard this so much. A lot of women, because breasts are so sexualized by others, like men, like they're used to the man, whatever they're doing with their breast. It's not where their focus is, but that's just like how they associate that body part.
Yeah.
Kind of like how we disassociate our bodies for not actually what it is meant for.
I
We
do think
use it
that
for other things.
I do think it's a mental thing. I guess my mind was thinking, oh, like, how can my breast milk help my baby? And shoot, if my husband at the time wanted to have sex, I had to give him forewarning, you might taste some breast milk. Like, I still want you to stimulate my breast because it is what it is. So I get it, Erica, about not wanting to, and this is for the man. Well, the man just got to taste the breast milk too. I'm sorry. Because
Not
I'm
tasting
breastfed.
breast
I'm
Some
milk.
breastfed.
men like it.
Not tasting breast milk, y'all.
If you suck, you're gonna get the breast milk out. Like my breasts were producing this for my baby. But I
So
mean, I
basically,
still liked it when we did
so
engage.
basically, they're getting a 2 for 1.
2 for 1, baby.
Getting full as well.
Is there any other changes that we want to touch on today? We've been talking for a while. We're going to take a little break and then we'll come back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Our roles changed a lot in our relationship when we had our child. And actually, the biggest change happened with Chris. He went from being my boyfriend, taking me out, to a provider of a whole family. Like, he's the only one working, he's the only one paying bills. He has to make sure that we are fed. Like, first pregnancy, he used to cook all the time. It's like he did so much for our family, and he was the only person because I just really I couldn't do it. I don't know if it was just because it was my first baby, but it's like you go through a period where you kind of like stuck in life.
So funny that you say, "Hey, this is kind of what happened to you, Tierney," because mine was the complete opposite. Meaning, Andrew, after I had the baby, Andrew stayed at home. Again, I was the one going to work. Remember, I said we were married for almost 7 years. Now we're divorced. So how does a child change a relationship now? That's a huge difference, right? So now we are in this co-parenting phase, and the relationship is definitely I think Andrew and I are better friends than what we were. I think that we're both still trying to learn how to parent, not now a baby, but now a 9-year-old, 8, 9-year-old. I mean, we've been divorced since Andrew was 4. So that was changed. Now we co-parent, and our relationship and dynamic is different having Andrew, a 9-year-old, balancing between two homes. So that's a huge change and adjustment. I move every 3 years or so. So that's a change too when it comes to children, how your relationship change. We're not necessarily together, but we're still maintaining a relationship because we have to co-parent for Andrew. That's another episode for another day. But I just want to let y'all know that different dynamics change your relationships, whether you are together, co-parenting. So Erica, I mean, I know you have been, and I keep going back because you've been in your relationship for so long, and that's just so amazing. Like, seriously, like, ups, downs, all around, y'all still making it work.
Yeah,
And man,
absolutely.
y'all gonna be the couple that's like 82 and say we've been together for 55 years. That's
Look,
gonna be
girl,
love.
look,
But
that's the goal. That's the goal.
we all gotta have goals. So hey,
Traveling 12 years. Look, I say traveling 12 years like we in a car, but being with somebody 12 years, you definitely are going to have challenges. I do feel like if you're in a relationship and you know that that person is for you and you are for that person, I feel like that you both are going to learn to put in the work. You're going to take your time, and you are definitely going to work towards your relationship to be where you want it to be.
I don't want to, I know you and Marcus have trade together, but I guess my question is, how was the dynamic or the relationship? I mean, obviously it worked with Marcus coming in being like a father figure to your son that's already before Trey, right? Because that's a change too,
Yeah.
and that could have affected your relationship in a negative way. But hey, 12 years later, you still rocking and rolling.
Well, again, with that situation, Mark is not having any children, and to be honest, Marcus never wanted any children. That's to say,
Oh,
let me say that when my son and Marcus, well, when we first started dating, let me just go back when me and Marcus actually been knowing each other since high school. I met Marcus
okay.
when I was in the ninth grade, and Marcus was in the 12th. And need in mind, we didn't even know that we went to the same school. It just so happened we
Oh
was
wow.
just at the mall, and I was with, of course, my friends. One was in the 11th grade, and one of my friends was in the 12th. And we just walking through the mall, whatever case may be. We just so happened to see Marcus and his cousins, and so we end up passing by each other anyway. And my friend, she was like, "Hey, what's going on?" Blah 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 blah. Blah. Me checking him out, him checking me out. He was like, we exchanged numbers or whatever. But again, we didn't even know that we went to the same school. So actually, me and Marcus' history goes, to be honest, it goes past the 12 years. It's just when we rekindled back.
Y'all were
Yeah,
official
official,
for 12
official,
years.
official, official.
Because when y'all was in that mall, you and Marcus was like, "Shout it, swing my way."
Look, good to me. Look, don't let me get into this. But to piggyback on your question with Marcus coming into my son's life, it's been a good experience. Before it was some challenges because when you are not dealing with children that's biologically not yours, it can be a challenge because of the way that you see their parenting, and if you're not a parent, it's hard to kind of like understand. So um it
Yeah,
was definitely an adjustment in the beginning, but as time went on, he definitely adjusted well with being in my son's life. And my son loves Marcus, he adores him.
good.
Marcus has always been dad in his life, because again, my son's biological father was absent. I'm just gonna say,
Instant present,
yeah, he just wasn't
pretty
present.
much.
So I'm very grateful, for the experience, and my son being able to, grow up with someone in his life that he looks at as a father, and their relationship, it grows each and every day.
That's awesome.
Okay, guys. Well, ladies, we've been talking a while and we're going to close out the show.
Hopefully, y'all have been enjoying listening to the Bum Ass Moms podcast. This has been a lot that we've shared on this podcast in episode 2. Part 1 continued how children can change your relationships, and I'm pretty sure there's much more change out there. So if you are interested in letting us know how children affected or changed your relationships, be sure to check us out on IG, on Facebook. You can email us at bumassmomspodcast@gmail, or you can DM us on IG and ask questions or tell us your story. But until next time, make sure y'all tune in, subscribe, like, and check us out because there are more juicy topics that are coming.
Like, share, and subscribe.